time. There's 3 full-blown meltdowns over there, and we've got all this nuclear waste stored in every nook and cranny all over this country. And this is a giant cash cow. We don't need it. It's a disaster, and it's causing cancer all over the world.
Now,
lots of cancer, including me.
A few last week, I talked about an alternative. I don't have it just on the tip of my tongue here, but there was an alternative to nuclear power years ago, 50 years ago, and it was.
Wait just a fucking minute.
You might mute your mic there, Dave. If you're if you're gonna be cussing people out there, you might mute the mic here. the this alternative power plant, it lost out. It was a type of nuclear power plant that
but trying to talk them, but they're not the answer, because even then, quit back then, yeah, they would have been better than what we have. There's no doubt about it.
But you couldn't make nuclear bombs out of it. So somebody is making a lot of money to produce. Israel's got 400 or 500. Russia's got 2,000 or 3,000. We've got 2,000 or 3,000 or more. I mean, what do we even need those nuclear weapons for?
Yeah, we're still making them. And by the way, a tornado hit Paducah in Kentucky, and that's where we need the fuel to make nuclear weapons. I mean, we got enough nuclear weapons to blow the earth up about 1 billion times over. We're still making it. It's all about money. It's a gigantic Department of Energy industry that. And by the way, when the tornado hit Paducah and spread fuel all over, it was exposed that it was Russian waste that was in there being mopsied into weapons. So here we're supposed to be making weapons to counter this evil commies, there, and it was their waste that we were turning into weapons there for them.
Well, the Russian people were never our enemies. The Cold War was bullshit. That's the Rothschild formula, the bankster's formula. If you don't have an enemy of sufficient strength, you got to create them. You got to make them into an enemy.
Oh boy, did they! Yeah, that's what killed my father. My father was new cadet in the Nevada Test site. He was a drafted Marine. A lot of people don't know this, that they took 40,000 Marines and put them right at the blast and experimented on them, and they knew it was probably going to kill them later. And to see if they could fight, and they did a lot of Army personnel, people right at the blast. You know, he helped, died in the time of his wife leukemia, which they all did, by the way. That's what sent me on this path many, many years ago. And I all had the exact same disease as him. I have animal leukemia. That if I was given too much to live 26 months ago, but, I went crazy the day Fukushima happened about, nuclear. I mean, it's going to get people leukemia. It's going to get people leukemia. Radiation causes leukemia, and it causes lots of cancers. And boom, 7 months later, I got sick one day. Thought I had a stomachache, but it was a real radical case of animal leukemia. Ended up in a bone marrow transplant center in Salt Lake City, South LDS Hospital. So I've been really venomous against them. I mean, I've taken them on every way I can, and the more I learn, like you said, what a cabal. I mean, this is their baby. This is the machine that they can use at all angles against everybody anytime they want. It's unbelievable, really. And we're paying for our own demise. I mean, we fund it. It's all done under the name of national defense, so they can do anything they want.
The Illuminati are the elite, are the Ashkenazis out there, which are the real Nazis. They wrote it in stone. They want to reduce the world's population to a manageable 500 million. I think that'd be 499 million slaves and 1 million elite.
boy, they
that's
pulled it off.
Georgia Guidestones. And, we've, I mean, I deal with a lot of these different things here with this show and this, my magazine. But, Monsanto, the ninth plank on the Communist Manifesto, and by the way, every plank on the Communist Manifesto is intact in America today.
You ain't kidding.
Every plank.
From a finance profession. Go ahead.
Ninth plank, corporate farms. So we've got Monsanto making genetically modified corn that rats won't eat, and they're feeding it to your children. I mean, that's got to be causing a bit of cancer, too.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. I mean, it's all synergized together. The thing is that got exposed to cover up of Fukushima after all this long, long time that was going on was a guy named John Holdren. That's why I went to Berkeley. He's head of the science and technology team that has been running this Fukushima cover-up. He's written 2 books on eugenics. So, well, this is his. I mean, this guy's probably going to be the happiest guy in the world. But the sad thing about this, and I say this is the great equalizer, they're eating their own now because I don't care who you are, you can't avoid Fukushima and radiation, and I don't care how much money you get. So I think they went too far. They're killing themselves now. I mean, if people say, oh, the money could save them, I said, oh, that's cheap. One of my doctors was one of his doctors. They threw the kitchen sink at him. You name it. And you were talking one of the richest men in the world. He died 54 years old. So Fukushima, I don't think they have an answer. And I think I really do think there's a panic going on among the so-called elites. And I think they're like, oh my God. You're starting to see it kind of break because I think that the nuclear industry's gone too far, and they know that they've gone too far. They can't put the genie back in the bottle, and there's no hiding from it. The radiation from Fukushima, it covers the earth quickly, very quickly. All these reports coming out, the tumors, it's 1,000 days we're going on. Not one single study out of you think about this, 300 marine biology departments, taxpayer funded in the United States, and not one single study coming out of the ocean, yay or nay, why they've been pushing 3 full mountains, probably 4 full mountains into the ocean the entire time. I mean, it's impossible to think that. Now, they keep quoting this Tracer study from 2011 in August. There's a little bit. That wasn't even a study. There's been nothing. So we have to use pure logic. TEPCO themselves report that they caught a fish 40 miles off the coast with 16,000 times the legal level of plutonium in its flesh. Now, imagine eating one of those. And so, here we're eating fish in the United States. Nobody's alerting us, and we pay all this money to these organizations to protect us. Nothing. Not a word, not a peep, not a nothing. I mean, they've completely taken over, like you said, they've taken over every department, like the Department of Agriculture, the Department of McDonald, the Department of the Treasury, Department of Goldman Sachs, the Department of Energy, the Department of General Electric. I mean, they've corporatized all government interests.
Well, our founding father, Thomas Jefferson, he'd warned us if you ever allow a private bank to issue your money, the banks and the corporations that spring up around them will leave your children homeless in the land that we conquered. He probably just didn't have any idea that those corporations would be killing off your children.
He called it. He got it. The ebb and flow through the Fed that's gone back and forth. I teach this subject matter, and I mean, you think about Greenspan running the Fed. This guy used to follow around Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand never claimed to be an economist. She was a science fiction writer, and he claims he's this when QE1, QE2, QE3 and 4. I mean, even before that, lowering the interest rate down to 0. This was giving the elites free money. I mean, he was such a fraud in such a way. He's the greatest terrorist in my mind. Well, maybe the nuclear industry's got a Trump now. I mean, but he was sitting up there atop the heap for a long time. Like I said, the small interests, we fought back in ways. We used tariffs, we used usury laws, we used different tools in history. Now you can't even have a conversation about a way to fight back. I mean, don't send the military industrial complex police force on you so fast you won't know how your head spins. They'll just come to your door. That's what they do. So, and we can take it. You know, we don't fight back in an intelligent way. That's what I've tried to be with my post-ignorance project, to try to fight back in a creative, intelligent way. And try to call out, you know, I really attack the moral structure of it. We have no chance otherwise. Where's our spiritual leaders standing up against all this? They rely on them.
Yeah, they've been bought out by the whole Judeo-Christian scam that's been going on for 2,000 years. I mean, come on, who killed Jesus, you know? And why they killed him? Because he was telling you, you can do what I do and more. You know, he told us God is within you. God is part of you. You don't need the rabbis. You don't need the preachers. You don't need the John Hayes out there. You don't need the Pat Robertsons. And, of course, the whole, which basically those guys are Pharisees, the same ones that killed Jesus. And I know, it's not all Jews. There's some good Jews.
I live in Utah, you know, in the Mormon complex. You would not believe what this corrupt cabal. I mean, people I don't think really understand how corrupt this society here in Utah right here. We're the most corrupt society in the world. I'm not kidding. You know, our sitting attorney general just resigned. Got caught obstruction of justice, like 15 felonies, and our governor says, "Oh no, we're just going to take care of it in house. No charges against him." You know, and our previous attorney general was caught offering a bribe on tape of $200,000. No charges, no nothing. I mean, it's just on and on and on. And they claim it in the name of God. And, you know, I'm like, oh, in the name of Jesus. Yeah, right. Jesus, come back and straight to your face.
Weren't Mormons the ones that were they used to guard Howard Hughes while they were drugging him up in that hotel?
That's right. That's exactly right. You know, it was all Mormons. You know, the old story was the mob owns Vegas, but the mob owns it, but the Mormons run it. And, you know, it's here. But, you know, at least when I was a boy growing up here, at least there was a few of the Mormon community that had some integrity and some truth about them and cared about other people and cared about their teachings of things. But not anymore. Like I said, they've all fallen for it. And the sad thing is, they're the victims of the whole 1% Illuminati canal or whatever it is, and they support their very abusers. That's what the difficult part we have with all of this, even the nuclear complex. I mean, it's like here, we're the cancer capital of the world. People don't, and we got cancer stored everywhere. We have more cancer here than anyone on the face of the earth. And people just are willing to accept death, to be a nuclear fallout. And I'm like, why don't you fight back? Because the people are doing it. We have the dump site right here. And they're like, they just accept it. They support their very killers.
It's just the way things are. You know, I've said, Kevin, that, and you touched on this and elucidated pretty well on it. The problem that we've got is how do you fight evil without becoming evil?
Yeah. And that's how we have fought it in the past. You know, you think about in the 20s and the 30s when the whole, you know, this same type of scenario went down, you know, and we had the giant revolt. I mean, the kids, the Irish and the Italian mobs that were children that were abused by these monsters, they fought back in an evil way. People don't realize that the exact same revolt as the Occupy War revolt, but they did it in a violent way, you know. They killed people left and right. I mean, CEOs were executed. It was blood, and you know that's why we worship the likes of Dillinger and Bonnie and Clyde. That, like I said, it's been fought back with evil in the past. I mean, you go all the way back in history, and it's been evil fought with evil. Well, now you have the technology of the military-industrialized complex. I mean, the police state. I mean, good luck trying anything. I mean, they got you, and that's the sad thing that the military and the police force that are going along with these guys, supporting the same people that are abusing them and their families.
You know, I've said the whole thing about our veterans are being mistreated. Anytime a communist regime takes over a country, they go after three classes of people in order. They go after the farmers first because they don't want you being able to feed yourself or your neighbors. they go after the intelligentsia next. That's anyone that's smart enough to know what they're doing. And third, they go after the veterans and the police officers that might be loyal to the old regime. If you've been to Vietnam, if you've been to Iraq, if you've been to Afghanistan, and you don't have post-traumatic stress syndrome, then you are sick. You know, the only thing post-traumatic stress syndrome is a fucking conscience. That's all it is.
That's right. That's exactly right. And you know, no wonder you drink 2 fifths of whiskey a day. I would too. You know, I tell people, really, you want to think that you can get in those guys' shoes? There's no way. My father was a Special Forces Marine. You know, I grew up down my uncle who just passed away last week, stood on Omaha Beach on D-Day. You know, and I saw, you know, he pretty well raised me, and I saw his angry fits of rage and whatever as a boy. And then my dad, you know, like I said, it's called a conscience. And how can anybody cope with that? It's impossible. It's impossible.
Well,
you know,
that's again.
And then they bring him home, and my dad was nuked to death in the Nevada test site. Erased from it. They didn't even give him one benefit, not a medal. My mom, not even any benefits, nothing, zero. You know, in the name of, you know, national security under the nuclear cabal. You know, in the name of, you know, peacekeeping. You know, nuclear weapons for peacekeeping. We have to cover all this up. You know, erase their names. I mean, it's outrageous what they did to those people. Look what they're doing to the Marines at Fallujah. White phosphorus they use on their own Marines. The USS Reagan, Fukushima, they're already, those persons are already dying of leukemia. I mean, it's unbelievable. Yet we wrap ourselves up in the fact and say, oh, yeah, look, we love our freaking military. Yeah, as long as they're doing some dirty work for the, you know, 1%.
We didn't, you know,
home here.
I volunteered for Vietnam in '64, and I didn't go. They tried to kill me before I got there. Evidently, I scored too high on the test for officers candidate school. I was pretty outraged about it. I said, I'd like to know why I didn't get officer candidate school. Why does that turn out? I've never failed a test. Oh, you didn't fail a test. You scored so high on the test, they won't let you be an officer. What?
Yeah.
You only let dumb people become officers?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were afraid of you. No doubt. It's all about control. And, you know, exactly.
You'll question.
That might shake it up a little bit.
Somebody with your IQ will question orders. You're damn right I will, and we're supposed to do that.
Yeah.
You know, we're supposed to do that. But a week after that.
Always had people in, you know, it's country all inside the military and inside the apparatus. We always have. If you think, I always used to make my students read Eisenhower's. It's not a cliche. He was a military-industrialized complex. Read it. And I mean, he stood up. I mean, he was a brilliant guy. And we always had people like that.
Yeah, Smedley Butler.
We still have him.
Smedley Butler, you know, war's a racket. And even General Patton, he said, we fought on the wrong side and they killed him.
Yeah, they look what they do to, look what, I was talking about up there at look what they did to Einstein, look what they did to Oppenheimer, look what they did to John Gottman. All these people that invented this whole nuclear, they stood up against it. I mean, Sakharov won a Nobel Peace Prize fighting these monsters. Oh, you know, they destroyed Oppenheimer. They destroyed Einstein. They destroyed all these people. I mean, they stood up. They knew. Like I said, anybody with men in mind, anybody that stands up to them, I mean, they obliterated their lives. And people think, they don't realize what those guys went through at the end of their lives is the machine just went after them because they went anti-nuclear. They went anti-war. You know, they went anti-nuclear weapons big time. And these were the guys that invented it. Oppenheimer said himself, he said when they were dropping the bomb on Hiroshima, he says, we didn't burn up the entire atmosphere of the world and kill everybody. But they made me do it. And he says, they did it anyway. And it wasn't Oppenheimer who did it. You know, he was a puppet. He was their puppet. You know, same with Eisenhower.
You can go on down the line, from Kennedy straight forward. Anybody that's trying to stop this wars is being targeted.
That's right.
Now,
it's outrageous. Everybody says, Kevin, you keep going against these guys. My one daughter says, I think the nuclear industry hates you so bad they sent you leukemia in the mail.
Kevin,
I laugh.
back in 2004, I was doing pretty well. I had 2 magazines out, motorcycle magazine in Phoenix, Thunder Riders, and Free American. And and my radio show that we're doing now, and I referred to 9/11 as an exaggerated case of Jewish lightning. I said no Arabs in a cave in Afghanistan made the U.S. Air Force stand down. You call me a conspiracy theorist, man? George Bush makes me look sick. Yeah. So they and then in April of 2004. The story broke in the New York Times that George Bush allowed the NSA to tap everybody's phones. Israel did the phone tapping. Amdocs and Converse did the tapping of our phones. And on May 20th, I called home and asked my son where he needed me to go next. He said, I'll go down 24th Street to McDowell, turn left, go to the wheel shop. It's right there, Dad. 2 blocks before I got to McDowell, I got hit. I got T-boned. When that failed to kill me, even though they rolled my Road King over me 3 times, I was the only biker on the street. They rushed me to the hospital and kept me drugged for 3 months. I think the only mistake they made was trying to overdose an old biker. Just probably ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, good luck. That's funny. That's funny.
But this now one of the things that, and maybe this is one of the reasons, not just 9/11. I referred to the fact that I had something I called the Liberty Villages Project. And I said, if you can grow your own food and generate your own energy from everything God gave us, you don't need the government or the banks for nothing. And at the time, I was thinking of solar, and I was thinking of wind generators, because we settled this whole country using windmills. Didn't kill nobody, didn't hurt nobody, didn't cost nothing. And I said Obama's idea of greening America, and this goes back to the whole energy scam, is to sell the top of that mountain to a Chinese company and let them put windmills on top of that mountain or in that field. What do you got, Dave? What's that?
So do you think you are going to catch a cold from that ice inside your soul? This is Kevin Blanch. If this is a friendly message or somebody wants to get a hold of me or one of my friends, leave a message. Rest of you, go fuck yourself. Seriously.
Goddamn, Kevin, I like that. This is Dave Corso from Wolf Spirit Radio trying to call you back. We'll call you back in a couple minutes, bud.
But this whole idea, what happens if you build these wind farms? They take the top of that mountain, put windmills on it, pipe it down, pipe the electricity they create back down to the power plants, and run it over the lines and sell it to you. So it doesn't. They raise your energy cost a little bit because they got to pay. They got more hands reaching out for their share of the profits. I said, now, why can't you just put solar on your roof, wind generator on your roof, a garden in the backyard, do it and talk to your neighbors and do it in your whole block, and you got a self-sufficient family farm in a residential neighborhood. Why don't you do it that way? Then if your house is generating the energy, and today I even found something else, a generator that It's called a biomass generator, and I just got the plans for that today. So this whole thing, you know, Tesla had radiant energy. I mean, broadcast energy, but the bankers couldn't put a meter on it. And the extension of that is exactly what you're talking about, the nuclear power plants. We don't really need those. It's just a way to concentrate the money into the hands of the elite. Somebody's making money off of and they're killing the Indians that are mining the uranium, aren't they? Are you still with me? I lost Kevin. What happened to Kevin?
The phone, his phone was cut off. Relax. Take a deep breath. Get a cup of coffee. I just booted a troll.
Okay. All right. Let's see. All right, got you back here.
Welcome back.
I've got car problems. I'm on the freeway and my car's breaking down.
Here, I'm sorry to hear that.
I apologize. I really apologize. I got a disaster, so I got to cut it off. I'm sorry.
No problem, Kevin. I'll have you back on in about a week or so.
Okay, I really appreciate it. I'm sorry. Thank you, guys. I got a disaster going on. I'm in the car's broke down on I-15.
All right.
Well, with me.
That I'm sorry to inform you, but that happens. That kind of thing happens when you come on my radio. I had yeah. Go ahead, Kevin. You take care of your grandson and get it free. I-15 is a bitch. All right. Well, again, folks, today this is what I've said. Today I have discovered a new thing here, a new thing I haven't really even heard of before. And Dave, maybe you can help me here. The thing is a biomass generator. Have you heard of that? Have you seen that? Anything like that?
No, I haven't.
All right. It's there's I've got a website up here, and I put it on the chat room. Adventures in Renewable Energy Technology. Build a solar oven, build a wind turbine, build a hydro generator, build a biogas generator. Now, tell you what I'll do. Since I lost my guest here, let's listen to this. I just bought this. Now, I don't know if I can do this or not, but I just bought it. I just paid for it.
I'm Abel Thomas, and in the next minutes I'm going to give you the startling reason why everything you need to gain complete energy independence in your trash can, your backyard, and even your kitchen cabinets. Show you how you can slash your electricity bill by 80% or more starting today by using an unconventional but highly effective power generating method that people in Vietnam, Korea, and the Philippines have been exploiting for over 200 years to keep their homes lit and their food cooked, even though they live on less than $1.50 per day. Without having to invest in fancy solar panels that cost more than $5,000 to install, or do-it-yourself solar kits that don't actually work, or having to rely on gas-guzzling generators that costs hundreds or even thousands a week to run, and gas isn't going to get magical.
Can you hear that? Dave, can you hear this okay?
I can't hear a thing, Clay.
Well, it's coming right to my speakers here, bud. I don't know.
It's not coming out over here.
Let me try it again. I
Hi, I'm Abel Thomas, and in the next
If
6
you
minutes
would
I'm going to give you
take the time
the
the day
startling
before you
reason
give
why
me these links, I can have it all set up here.
well, I didn't know I was going to do this. Here, let me give you the thing.
Oh,
Let me
you
give you.
gotta be prepared.
Yeah, right. I got it right here. Let's see how quick I can get it to you. Just play this. This is pretty interesting. He's done it pretty well. And what he's asking for the plans and the videos is $49. If it can do what he says it can do, it'll be worth it. And I went to the Google.
Hang on, here we go.
The startling reason why everything you need to gain complete energy independence is sitting in your trash can, your backyard, and even your kitchen cabinets. Show you how you can slash your electricity bill by 80% or more starting today by using an unconventional but highly effective power generating method that people in Vietnam, Korea, and the Philippines have been exploiting for over 200 years to keep their homes lit and their food cooked, even though they live on less than $1.50 per day. Without having to invest in fancy solar panels that cost more than $5,000 to install, or do-it-yourself solar kits that don't actually work, or having to rely on gas-guzzling generators that cost hundreds or even thousands a week to run, and gas isn't going to get magically cheaper. And keeping your family safe during any sort of disaster or crisis, whether it's as minor as a brief blackout or as nightmarish as a total grid collapse. All you have to do is follow the steps I'm about to give you in this brief but crucial video. You join over 78,000 thrilled Americans I've already helped, and you'll experience the same heart-racing rush they did when you're tearing open your power bill with childish glee each month, throwing aside the envelope and holding up the latest check that the power company had no choice but to send you because you are feeding excess energy back into the grid. In truth, it's almost an uncomfortable feeling at first. Over the course of several decades, you've been conditioned to send in hundreds of dollars every single month to these energy fat cats. And then suddenly you're ripping open that monthly statement and finding a check printed, signed, and immediately cashable under your name from some faceless energy monopoly. It can feel a little strange. But trust me, any feelings of guilt disappear quickly. The technology you're about to discover is your God-given right, 1,000 times more ethical than the constantly inflated rates that the electricity mafia is.
Whoop. Is that Fusion Center again, or? Yeah, looks like it. Problem with this call. Oh boy.
over the last year, telling me how
got your
thrilled,
back now.
elated, and even sometimes flabbergasted they are by the simple truth of how easy it is to make your own power, shutting the door in the face of greedy corporations and keeping their families warm and protected. I'll tell you everything in just a moment. But before I get to that, let me just explain why I am so passionately invested in helping you to get off the grid and keep your home, your family, and your freedom protected from the evil electric mafia. It all started when my 5-year-old son looked me directly in the eyes and said,
"Daddy, I don't want to lose our fun."
Now, I'm often accused of having the gift of gab, but when I heard these words and saw his big, brown, innocent eyes staring up at me for once in my life, I didn't know what to say. I didn't want to lose the farm either. A source of food, comfort, and financial security passed down through my family from father to son for 5 whole generations. A throwback to the better, simpler days of America, where a man could grow what he needed, sell the rest for an honest profit, and keep a roof over his family and clothes on his children's back. But things have been changing. Did you know that in 1901, 42% of Americans lived on farms? Today, the number is less than 1%. Companies like Monsanto and Cargill have staked claim to almost all the farmland in the U.S. and either bought out or forced out the families who inhabit them. To kill the American farmer, they move into new areas, operate at a loss of millions of dollars to make their prices irresistible to the community, then threaten to blacklist any buyers or distributors who do business with their enemies. We're sorry, my former friends would all say. You know I would, but I have my own family to look after. If word gets out that I'm buying from you, I will lose my contract with Monsanto. I can't afford to do that, especially with this drought, especially with the economy the way it is. I'm sorry. With mounting bills, swarming debt, and less and less money coming in, I made the horrible decision to take out a mortgage on the farm. That kept us afloat a little longer, but we're still having more and more trouble finding buyers for our crops. And with fewer buyers and mounting bills, I fell behind on my mortgage payments again and again, until suddenly the bank was calling. Notices were showing up in the mail, and it seemed like I'd exhausted almost all my options. I felt so sick of big business treating me like a meaningless ant, sick of telling my children, no, we can't turn these out, or no, I can't give you money for a movie, and sick of feeling helpless, or feeling like there was nothing I could do but sit there and expose myself to punch after punch in the gut. Not knowing what to do, I got in my family's 97 Silverado and made the 3.5-hour drive to the farm of one of my family's oldest friends, Hank Bean. Hank's family had been farming in Iowa for just about as long as mine. I figured if there was one person who might have an idea of how I could save my farm, it would probably be him. I had no idea, however, as I drove down the single-lane highway that led to his property, that what I was about to see that day would not only be the key to preserving our farm for our children and their children's children, but that it would also alter the course of my life forever, turning me into a leader, or that I'd soon be teaching all of these other folks, just like you, how to turn energy into an asset, not a liability, so they could start receiving fresh printed checks every month from the same evil energy empires who were once bleeding them dry while paying their executives $30 million in bonuses as a reward for hurting American families. Hank and I sat down poring over any possible options for saving the farm. It quickly became clear that because of the chokehold Monsanto had on our town and the farming industry in general, increasing my sales wasn't going to be a viable option. What I needed to do, Hank said, was figure out a way to cut my expenses. But how? I was already operating on a bare-bones budget, already had my irrigation with timer, already getting clothing for my children at Salvation Army, and already keeping our heater at almost criminally low temperatures during the winter, making me sick as I watched my children wrap themselves in blankets and snuggle together for warmth. Which is why when Hank asked about my electric bill, I told him there was no possible way to reduce it. Yes, I was paying over $2,400 per month to keep my farm powered, but I just couldn't set the thermostat any lower or cut off electricity to the barn, where our livestock depended on warmth to survive the negative 15-degree winters we experience in Burlington. So when Hank smiled at me after I explained all of that, about how my power bill was a necessary evil, and told me that my problems were solved, it looked like I'd be able to keep the farm after all. passing it on to my children, setting our heater to as high as we wanted, and actually getting paid money every month in the process. I thought he'd lost his mind. But as I followed him outside, around the house, and back behind his barn, what I saw made me realize that he was right. Hank showed me something that changed my life forever. Behind Hank's barn, he had a weird-looking structure, a large tin dome that looked like a mud hut the ancient Indians lived in, although it was only a few feet off the ground. But inside this strange little shelter was enough energy to power his entire 27.5-acre farm. It was easily convertible to electricity. It could be used to power gas motors, and it cost him literally $0 to keep it running. What's this? I asked Hank. It's a biogas generator. So let me explain exactly what a biogas generator is, how it works. A biogas generator takes organic matter like grass, leaves, leftover scraps from dinner, and even animal waste, breaks it down through a process called anaerobic digestion, and converts them into energy-dense gas, which can be used to power a vehicle, a stove, a grill, a water heater, whatever. And it's easily convertible into electricity. I'll explain how in a second. Hank had built his own biogas generator out on his property and was now using it to power his entire farm, keeping his thermostat set to 77 degrees during the winter, running heavy farming equipment, and keeping his barn warm too. Have you ever been sick with worry about something, where you're filled with anxiety and dread, and how you feel like you want to choke and vomit all at the same time? Then you probably know how whenever the situation you've been worrying about turns out okay, you feel this powerful weight of relief just overtake your entire body. Your heartbeat returns to normal. Your hands stop sweating. You feel like you're finally yourself again. That's the exact experience I had as Hank showed me how his biogas generator had worked. And as I drove back home to my family, the blueprints resting on the passenger seat, I started to cry. Not from terror, not from shame, not from a feeling of failure, but from total and utter relief. The next morning at dawn, I set to work building my own biogas generator. I used our farm equipment to dig out a shallow hole in my backyard, and even had my kids help me. That took us a few days because I was going for something big. I'll later tell you how to build a compact version, powerful enough to power your entire home in only a few square feet of space. We scavenged around town and found the pieces we didn't already have. Although a lot of items we were already in the pile we keep. 30 days later, my power bill had gone from $2,413.16 to $822.92. 60 days later, the bill was $407.05. My wife called it a miracle. We were not only paying our mortgage, but even had money left over to buy all the kids' back-to-school clothing. I love seeing the smiles on my children's faces as they squealed at their new jeans, flannels, and dresses. And it felt so good. My 5-year-old son hugged me, overwhelming gratitude in his eyes, and told me that he wanted to be just like me when he grew up. I was powering my farm equipment, even my tractors, using free gas instead of gasoline that costs $3.63 a gallon at the pump. And then months after first building my biogas generator, I had the icing on the cake. I'll always remember that day. It was August 31st, 2008. I just received the newest power bill and opened it as I sat at our kitchen table. Inside, there it was, a check for $108.93. It was one of the best feelings in the world. Not only had I reduced my bill by over $2,500, I was actually getting paid while I did it. It was at that moment that I knew I had to share this biogas generator with other people. That other Americans like you deserve to have this feeling of being completely free from the bloody fangs of big electric and having a grid-free power supply that didn't depend on the weather or expensive oil from terrorist regimes. Plus, I don't know about you, but between the inflation of our food prices, the declining value of the dollar, and a government that's racking up trillions in debt trying to create a socialist welfare state, it seems to me like every single American better have a backup plan. A collapse is coming, and soon. And when there's no gasoline or electricity to depend on, families will starve, freeze, and become prisoners in their own homes. So I knew that it was vital that I shared this information with you. But there were 3 problems. First,
Hank's biogas generator was expensive to build. It cost me over $1,500. In the long run, since I saved over $2,200 in the first month, it was worth it. But I realized that these are tough times we live in. The cost of everything is shooting upwards faster than a rocket. So I knew I had to get the cost down dramatically. Second, the generator in Hank's blueprint was too big. 20 meters isn't a big deal on a farm. But what if you live in an urban area with a backyard that's only 5 meters across? I had a moral obligation to help everyone, not just farmers, to gain total energy independence and safety. Third, Hank's generator wasn't simple enough that anyone could build it, even the elderly or a young child. So I had to make the design really simple, and it had to be 100% safe for everyone to use. When I realized these problems, I actually looked at some alternative options. I thought maybe there was another way for folks to reduce their power bills dramatically. I researched solar panels, but getting them installed cost more than $5,000, and DIY kits cost $600 while producing a few kilowatts of energy. Plus, solar is dependent upon the weather, which means during a winter storm or a stretch of rain, when your family needs warmth and electricity the most, you might be left in the dark. Not to mention that if the SHTF, the you-know-what, hits the fan, and there is anarchy and chaos in the streets, a solar panel is basically a giant advertisement to looters, bandits, and thieves. You're practically putting a massive billboard over your roof saying, "We have energy, we're cooking food, and our house is still warm, come on in." I looked at gasoline generators too, but there were way too many downsides. First, a good one is going to run you around $1,000. Second, they depend on gas, which means you're paying an arm and a leg to run them. And third, if things get really, really bad, there's not going to be any gas at the pumps anyway. Then I looked at propane, but it has the same downside. Like gasoline, the average propane generator puts out 1,000 watts of energy, which is maybe enough to keep the lights on for a few hours. A massive generator that puts out 5,000 watts and costs $2,200 will only run for about 8 hours tops. And just like gasoline, you may not have access to it in the event of a major collapse. Realizing that a biogas generator was the only affordable and permanent way to ensure families' total energy independence, I set to building a model that took up barely any space, was easily assembled, and that could still create massive energy outputs. I had to relearn pretty much every single thing I'd been taught in my classes while studying agricultural engineering in college. Thank God I had that training, because I already knew the basics of designing and building machinery. I scoured books, articles, and the internet for every resource I could possibly find on biogenerators. Some of the stuff was pretty surprising. Countries like Vietnam, Korea, and the Philippines have been using the same technology for centuries to heat their homes and cook their meals. Not only that, but because they had traditionally been really poor countries, they had to figure out ways to generate electricity for pennies on the dollar. And after a year of obsessive research, studying, designing, and making prototypes, I finally created a biogas generator so elegantly simple, every American could easily put one in their home. I named it the Liberty Generator. It takes less than 4 hours to build, even if you have no construction experience and struggle to assemble a 5-piece desk from Walmart. The design was made to be simple, so that even children or the elderly would have no problem putting it together. Total construction cost is less than $200. Most people will be able to build one for less than $40 using parts they already have in their homes, or can find at the local junkyard. Any pieces you do need to purchase can be found by driving down the street to your local hardware store. It's entirely scalable. You can generate substantial power even if your backyard is only 7 feet wide. If you have a larger property, you can easily expand it to create even more power and increase the amount of income you receive from the power company each month. It's leak-proof and mess-proof. I poured through thousands of blueprints and made constant improvements to them until I was 100% positive that this is a 100% safe and clean power source. It's also weatherproof. You keep your generator outside, but the unique design keeps it protected from rain, snow, sleet, storms, and other elements. Liberty Generator runs on natural matter. You don't need to purchase any sort of fuel source or pray for sunlight to keep your entire property powered. Simply add grass, leaves, wood, food scraps, fruit, and vegetable peels, or even your pet's waste. If it's bio, It's convertible. Plus, it's discreet. There's no smell because of the special design. And while solar panels are a glaring bullseye on your home when SHTF, and noisy gas motors scream for nosy neighbors, sinister looters, and desperate criminals to come check out your home, GPG simply sits in a mound a few feet off the ground. No one sees it, hears it, or smells it, and your family stays safe. The energy you produce can be converted into electricity immediately. You don't need to have a science degree to make this happen. All you need is one piece of equipment that can be purchased for less than $8 at a store like Dollar General. And it can even be added on to your existing generator, providing a crucial backup in case it fails. You already know that failing to plan is planning to fail. But Liberty Generator gives you the certainty of knowing you'll always have a ready-to-go, high-yield power generator in your home. Something so simple, it can run off tree bark. But most important of all, you will have enough energy to run your entire home. You can reduce your power bill by 80% or more in your very first month using this technology. You won't have to scream at your children to turn off lights when they leave a room, or shiver in the winter as your thermostat stays set at a frigid 65 degrees. That's exactly what happened to Greg Adler from Tucson, Arizona, who writes, "I am still in shock at how well this works. I live in a hot, stinky desert, which is not exactly a Garden of Eden. I run this thing off cactus, prairie grass, and dinner leftovers. Not only am I able to blast cold air in my home for the 7 scorchingly hot months we experience every year, but I'm getting paid $27.30 each month to do it." And Alan Belding of Bozeman, Montana, who says, 5 years ago, I would have called you crazy if you said the first day of the month would be one of my favorites. Now I look forward to it like a kid on Christmas. I live in an apartment, so I just use leftovers from my meals, nothing else. At the start of every month, I get a check for $117, sometimes more. Regards of Big Electric. I use the money to take my wife and daughter out to a steak dinner. It's quickly becoming one of our favorite family traditions. Soon I was sharing my blueprints with friends and family. I wanted to help liberate them from the tyranny of energy companies like General Electric, which is the parent company of almost every electric company in the U.S., making over $124 billion each year, the vast majority of it from preying on honest, hard-working Americans. But I also wanted to make dead sure that this was something anyone could build, no matter what their skill level or ability. And as the results kept pouring in, and I kept hearing over and over again that this worked, that it had been built in a few hours. From people like my cousin Ronald, a city boy who lives about 10 minutes outside of downtown Boston, that he had built his generator and started powering his entire home in under 3 hours. I finally knew it was time to share my designs with you and other liberty-loving patriots who are tired of feeling enslaved to powerful and sinister criminal interests. So today I'm making the Liberty Generator available to you. The Liberty Generator is a comprehensive system giving you...
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Clay.
Yes.
Listen, you know Miss Florence Mason, right?
What's that?
You know Florence Mason?
Yes.
Miss Florence Mason has been in jail for the past 5 weeks, illegally.
Yes, I heard about that.
Have you got her proof number and her case and her date of birth? Listen, let me tell you the runabout. They had some warrants for arrest, which was fake. They've since been lifted. The court system had no reason to be holding this Mason over, but what they did, they put a psychiatric evaluation that was set up for November 6th. They did a psychiatric evaluation, but as you know, Miss Mason is extremely intelligent. She passed it. But what happened, the psychiatrist that saw her was fine with her going to court the next day, who hadn't seen Miss Mason, went in and filed something that night at midnight. For her to stay for another 7 days for more psychiatric evaluation. Since then, everybody that's been trying to help Miss Mason, including her caseworker, even yesterday her caseworker told her for a woman with a grown woman shouldn't have stinking breath like her. They have now set a private hearing without Miss Mason being there because she has a lawsuit against the police the Philadelphia Police Department that was issued by the U.S. Marshals, and they don't want that case to go forward, so they're trying to hold her over as a basket case. And it's very important, Mr. Clay, if you can help us with getting Miss Mason out, because I sent an attorney there to see her, and the attorney said to me, Conroy, Miss Mason is one of the most intelligent women I've ever met, and they have no reason to be holding her. Not only that, since she's been in there, the first week she was sleeping with 4 people to herself, which is totally illegal. She's only supposed to be there with another 2 persons. And once they moved, they basically had her sleeping on a boat with no blankets in the prison. She said she's been extremely freezing, and she's lucky how she hadn't got ill. They also did not getting her to take bath, keeping her in dirt clothes, so that when they have their hearing, they can say and do whatever they want to do, so that they can stop her crazy, so that that case doesn't go through.
You've had a lawyer there. What can I do? I'm down in Texas. I don't have any way to get that, to help. I don't know what I could do.
Don't you have a radio program?
Yes, sir, I do. You're on it right now. You're on it right now, sir. I'm doing my show right now.
I hope I'm not live on air.
You are.
Wow, I wasn't aware of that. But listen, all I know is that Miss Mason's got another friend out here, and I remember going to Miss Mason's house. They scared her daughter. They hit one of her daughters as well. And Miss Mason's filed a lawsuit against them. And it's a bad lawsuit, and they want her to move forward with it. Okay? They do not want her to move forward with it. And this woman has gone through hell. She believes in human rights. She is an activist. And she doesn't claim to be, but she is. And she is very good at what she does, and she represents herself. And right now, I'm reeling, because to me, how can you have somebody in jail when the warrants are lifted? You did a psychiatric evaluation, which she passed, and then another psychiatrist went and filed something at midnight. I find that suspicious. Hello?
Yes, sir. I hear you.
I find that
well, I agree with you. I agree with you. I just don't know anything I can do other than what I'm doing right now. How?
Well, if anybody is listening, Miss Mason and wants to call 442-46-5937, they can call me. We need to get her.
I will put your number up for that, sir. All right, I've got to let you go. I've got to let you go right now, sir.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
It's about turning the tables. It's becoming entirely self-reliant, not dependent on the government or the corporations, desperate to turn your family into a bunch of little numbers found at the bottom of a profit and loss sheet. It's about having them pay you. It's about taking the step today that protects your family from that corporate greed for decades or even centuries to come, even as the price of gasoline and electricity continues to explode. You don't want to be sitting in front of your computer 10 years from now and suddenly remember this video. You don't want to have that moment where you realize that you could have been free from your grid dependence instead of struggling mightily to pay your $350, $750, or $1,050 power bill every month. The normal retail price for the Liberty generator is $99.97, and both my family and every single one of the 78,415 people who have already tried it tell me that I'm insane for pricing it so low. I mean, think about it. Assuming your monthly bill is a modest $150 per month, Over the last decade, you have given the energy companies $18,000. If you live in a larger home and your cost is $350 per month, it's a staggering $42,000. The very first month I built and used my Liberty generator, my power bill dropped from $2,413.16 a month to $822.92. Within 3 months, I was getting a check from the electric company for $108.93. And I live on a used 29-acre property. Imagine how much you'll save if you live in an 1,800 square foot home. Even if I'm off, which over 78,000 people have made it clear that I'm not, what if you only cut your bill by 20%? If your monthly power bill is $60, $30 for say cook meals, warm water for bathing, and when you have gas to power vehicles and be able to drive when all of those around you are walking the roads like zombies. 99.97 should seem like the deal of a century. But after a lifetime of battling the power company demons and being viciously attacked by big companies like Monsanto and finally breaking free from it all, having thousands of extra dollars every month and save money, and being able to give my wife and children the clothing, food, and toys they deserve, I honestly believe I have a moral duty to put a Liberty generator in every American's home. 4 months ago, when I put out a 3-day coupon for the Liberty generator, taking $20 off and selling it for $77.97, so many people hit buy that it literally crashed this website. Now, I've learned my lesson from that one and upgraded my web hosting dramatically, but I'm still nervous. You've stuck with me this far, and I see how serious you are about taking this vital step towards not only saving 80% or more off your power bill every month, so during the safety and comfort of family, no matter what happens in the future, even if there's an economic collapse or the grid goes dark. So, for a limited time only, you can get the Liberty generator, and saving tens of thousands of dollars off your power bill over the coming years, actually getting paid by those evil electricity pushers for the power you generate and preserving the safety of your family for just $49.97. But you have to act right now. And because I really want you to know how deeply and sincerely I am fighting for you, if you invest in a Liberty generator right now, and only during this special reduced price window, you'll also receive unrestricted support for life. Over 78,000 people have already proven how simple building your own completely self-sustaining 100% natural generator really is. But I do realize that there are always going to be people who have questions, or who want to discuss the best building location, or ask about tips for increasing energy output even more. Which is why, if you act today, I will give you my personal email address, along with 24/7 access to an entire support team. Honest Americans I've hired for the sole purpose of helping you. If there is ever a moment where you're unsure of something or you have a question, simply shoot my team an email and we will immediately work with you to get an answer. You'll never feel stuck or like you're unsure what to do, or be left wondering if the modification you've decided to make is safe or not. All it takes is to have the step-by-step video guides, your full-color building blueprint and instructions, your materials list cheat sheet, and lifetime support. All it takes to have the step-by-step video guides, your full-color building blueprints and instructions, your materials list cheat sheet, and lifetime support is click that big Add to Cart button directly below this video. No doubt by now, you can feel the sense of excitement that's creeping from your bones, realizing that there is finally a real alternative to paying the power companies a 1,125% markup on each kilowatt of energy you use, of having a grid-proof power source that can preserve your family's comfort and way of life, even if there is terrible anarchy in the streets outside. You'll even be helping the environment. You'll be going green by generating all your power from grass, leaves, bark, food leftovers, and even the waste from your pets. All that's standing between you and total energy independence is that big Add to Cart button right below. Right through the wall by clicking on it now, and and take what you deserve. What's your God-given right? Simply enter your credit card information in our secure payment processing form, which you find on the next page. And you get the videos, blueprints, everything is an immediate download. There are only 3 button clicks standing between you and energy freedom. I'll guarantee this changes your life forever. I realize that our economy is reeling from Wall Street's greed, and that we're all pinching pennies. I know that while investing $49.97 to save thousands is obviously a winning proposition, every purchase you make needs to be weighed carefully, which is why I've decided to put my money where my mouth is by offering you a 100% satisfaction guarantee. If you don't save money on your power bill or are unsatisfied for any reason at all, you don't pay a dime. This is how it works. Just click on the Add to Cart button below. You'll be following in the footsteps of the 78,415 other Americans who have already made the decision to power their home with a bead to the yard instead of with price gas corporate energy. Download your package, watch the video guides, print out their step-by-step instructions. Go spend 30 minutes gathering up the materials. If at any point during the next 60 days you're unhappy, if for some reason you don't save drastically on your next power bill, or even if you only save 17% and wanted to save more, simply send me an email and I'll refund your purchase immediately. No questions asked and no hassles given. Look, growing up in a small rural community, I learned early on that a man's word was only as good as his actions. I know with utter conviction that the only reason I deserve your hard-earned money is if I have given you a product of total, overwhelmingly high value. And yes, I do feel pretty cocky with this guarantee too. I've seen firsthand the tens of thousands of people who are now getting checks for anywhere from $20 to $290 paid regularly every single month by the same companies that used to bleed them dry. Plus, I've heard countless stories from those I've helped, all telling me how easy it is to build the Liberty generator, how it only takes between 2 to 4 hours to make, how it costs less than $200 to build, how most of the parts can be found in the garage, how a few falling leaves in October can be enough to run energy through your home for an entire month. All you have to do to get started is to push the big shiny Add to Cart button below right now. Then you click Submit on the next page and download on the page after that. That's it. Then it's yours. The key to unlocking an unending supply of gas, electricity, propane, and solar-independent energy for life. But you really must act now. Last time I discounted the price on Liberty Generator, it crashed my entire website. I'm not making the same mistake twice. I've already said it so that after a small handful of people receive this special discount, about 50% of the normal selling price, the offer goes back up to $97.99. Ultimately, though, the decision is yours. There are really only 3 choices you can make. The first is not to take action. This video is about to end, and you'll be left staring at the computer screen. You can just leave after and try to forget about what you saw when your next power bill for $175 comes in the mail. Or if, God forbid, there's a terrible disaster and power is cut off for days or weeks or months, you'll still have to yell at your kids to keep the lights down and tell your wife that money is too tight to go out to dinner. And you can feel the guilt of knowing you're not truly doing everything in your power to provide for your family. The second is to try to build your own biogas generator. It can be done, but there are huge problems. There are very few step-by-step guides online. Those that exist are highly technical and assume that you have at least 60 feet of space with which to build yours. They also require you to spend thousands of dollars just to learn them. And if you're going to do that, why wouldn't you just invest for $49.97 instead? Which brings you to your third choice. Get Liberty Generator today at absolutely zero risk to you. Join the ranks of over 40,000 American families, over 72,000 people in total. And by tomorrow, you could be generating massive amounts of power, easily convertible to electricity, with just the scraps you didn't need for dinner. You'll be one of a select group of people who will ever get Liberty Generator for such a low price. And you'll be covered for a full 2 months by my 100% no questions asked money-back guarantee. You'll have lifetime access to 24/7 support, so you'll never feel frustrated if you have a question and need an answer. All you have to do is click the Add to Cart button below this letter and make a decision that is literally no downside and an upside of not just $18,000 or more in savings over the coming years, but also total grid-free energy for life. This video is ending in 30 seconds, and the choice is yours. What you have seen today is about more than just saving money or forcing the power company to pay you. Those parts are important, but there's more to it than that. It's about providing for those you love, of reclaiming what's yours as an American, the unalienable right of freedom. It's about not being a slave or being controlled and manipulated by profit-hungry monopolies, and being able to hedge against both the rapidly rising cost of energy and the rapidly declining stability of the U.S. society. This is your chance to be your own man, a leader who protects, defends, and keeps safe all the ones he cares for. Take action now. This is your very last chance. Click the Add to Cart button right this moment and join the swelling ranks of U.S. patriots who've had enough of big government, big energy, and the lies they tell to keep both us and our money in their pockets. I look forward to hearing from you. You build your very own Liberty Generator. Don't forget that any investment, you'll have access to my personal email address and that of the entire team. If you have any questions or just want to share your own success story, please feel free to reach out to me right away. Thank you for watching this video. This has been Abe Thomas.
All right. Now, what is biogas? Biogas is actually a mixture of gases, usually carbon dioxide and methane. It is produced by a few kinds of microorganisms, usually when air or oxygen is absent. The absence of oxygen is called anaerobic conditions. Animals that eat a lot of plant material, particularly grazing animals.
I know that sometimes it can be scary to take that first step, even though you thought to be slashing your electricity bill by 80% or more in 1 month. You still have questions. To help you feel fully confident in your Liberty Generator investment, let me take a minute or two here to address the answer to some of the most common questions people ask. 1. How much will I save? The exact amount you save will depend on several factors, including how large your generator is, the size of your home, and the amount of electricity you normally run in your home. Our average customer saves about $174 per month on their bill, while others with larger houses have saved significantly more. 2. How much energy will my Liberty Generator produce? Just like above, the amount of energy produced will depend on a few factors, namely the size of your generator and how often you fuel it. It's more than possible to produce 5,000 plus watts of electricity per day. 3. How do I fuel my Liberty Generator? The coolest part about your new generator is that there are dozens of ways to power it. You can add bags of grass, tree bark, falling leaves, leftover air scraps, a piece of cactus, even your pet's waste. Through the anaerobic process, all of these different sources are naturally broken down and turned into energy. 4. What's maintenance like? There's very little maintenance. You simply add fuel once or twice a day and then remove the energy's byproduct. This byproduct is still organic and safe. It makes very 5. Will it work in the city? Yes, as long as you have a backyard. Even if it's just a few feet wide, you can generate plenty of power from the Liberty Generator. 6. Is it hard to build? Not at all. When I was designing this, I made it so simple that my young son could build on his own. There's very little physical labor, so even the elderly or those with a bad back or other ailments should have no problem making it. The average build time is about 3.5 hours. 7. What's included again? Inside, you'll get my comprehensive step-by-step video guide showing you exactly how to build your own Liberty Generator. I made these videos with an over-the-shoulder approach, so it's basically like I'm here in the room building it with you. You'll also get the machine blueprints, full-color step-by-step directions, and the full materials list. Plus, your purchase today comes with unlimited lifetime support. You can email my team or me anytime you have a question, and we'll promptly respond to you. 8. How do I order? Simply click on the Add to Cart button you see below. You'll then be taken to our 100% secure checkout page, where you'll enter your payment information. After you've completed your order, you'll have access to my special members-only area, where you can instantly stream or download video guides, along with the blueprints, instructions, and materials list. You'll also get access to all my contact information from this page as well. 9. Is there a guarantee? Yes. Once you place your order, you'll have a full 60 days to support your videos, blueprints, and instructions, and to build your Liberty Generator for yourself. If at any point you are unsatisfied or change your mind about this, Simply send an email and I will immediately refund your entire purchase, no questions asked.
Alright, I've lost that. But, again, besides being able to live without oxygen, methane-producing microorganisms have another special feature. They are among the very few creatures that can digest cellulose, the main ingredients of plant fibers. Another feature of these organisms is they are sensitive to conditions in their environment such as temperature, acidity of water, etc. Flammable biogas can be collected using a simple tank. Animal manure is stored in a closed tank where the gas accumulates. It makes an excellent fuel for cook stoves, furnaces, and can be used in place of regular natural gas, which is a fossil fuel. Biogas is considered to be a source of renewable energy. This is because the production of biogas depends on the supply of grass, which usually grows back each year. By comparison, the natural gas used in most of our homes is not considered a form of renewable energy. Natural gas is formed from the fossilized remains of plants and animals, a process that took millions of years. These resources do not grow back on a timescale that is meaningful for humans. Now, people have been using biogas for over 200 years. In the days before electricity, biogas was drawn from underground sewer pipes in London and burned in street lamps, which were known as gas lights. In many parts of the world, biodiesel is used to heat and light at homes, to cook, and even to fuel buses. It is collected from large-scale sources such as landfills and pig barns, though small through small domestic or community systems in many villages. Now, we get more information on that biomass energy. But the apparatus you're going to use to build uses a discarded 18-liter water container as the digester. A mixture of water and animal manure will generate the methane, which you collect in a plastic balloon. An 18-liter water container performs the same task as the stomach of a livestock animal by providing the warm water conditions favored by the bacteria that makes the methane. The main hazards in this activity are for sharp tools such as tube cutters or scissors. Exercise caution when using any tools. Now, I doubt that this guy, what he's talking about here, uses balloons, but I haven't got that far yet. And this that I'm sharing with you right now is from another site that's basically showing you how you can do this. But the thing that you purchase, this is a free thing, an experiment, and what he's building is a larger thing, probably 4 by 8 feet, I would say. And I've lost that particular thing here. Let me see if I can find it. I've lost it here. I've lost it here. Alright, where are we at here? Dave, you still with me? Are we still hooked up here? Yeah.
You betcha.
What do you think about that? I mean, is this practical? Do you know anything about engineering here? I mean, it's.
I don't know yet. It sounds good, but I'm going to invest $49.97 to find out.
I did, and but I've lost my link to it. I'll probably find it here in a second here.
Oh, I have it.
But okay. Yeah, okay, I've got it here. Let's see what he's building up. What he's doing here is building a base.
Hello, fellows. In this video, I will present you the 2.0 version of the Liberty generator. In this version, you won't need a huge recipient for the digester, and it will be easier to clean and refill. I will begin by creating a wood structure. The exact size that I've used can be found in the PDF file of Parent's design. But keep in mind that the size doesn't have to be precise. You can build this anywhere you want, as long as it's outside, to prevent accidents from happening because of the gas accumulation. I'm drilling pilot holes to beat the nails with ease. This will prevent the wood from splitting or the nail from going in the wrong direction.
Alright, I'm downloading the PDF file. Need tools for it: screwdriver, drill, a saw, a hammer, power saw for cutting the wood.
I lay on the floor some wood battens. You can use anything that you have laying around to build this wooden base.
Alright, what do we got here? Alright, it looks like this base he's building, he just
Sometimes when you need to cut a small portion of wood, it's easier to use the circular saw.
Yeah, this thing's about 4 feet wide and looks like it's about 10 feet long. Let's see if we can speed this up a little bit. Obviously I can't.
2.0 version of the I will begin by creating a wood structure. The exact
Yeah, we've been there.
doesn't have to be precise.
Alright, then he lays a floor down for it. Well, that ain't doing it for me. Not much fun on the radio listening to somebody hammer some nails, so we'll pass on that. We'll pass on that. Alright, we got about 30 minutes left. The whole idea behind this is trying to become a little bit more self-sufficient. He said the materials, here's the materials you need. You need some wood battens, some thick and thin wood pieces, 4 boxes of polystyrene, 24 plastic bags, 1 filter battery, 1 cotton filter, 1 cold filter, 1 inflatable mattress, about 3 meters of hose, 1 gas regulator, or 1 broken carburetor to run on gas, some screws, 20 meters of steel tape, PVC, 1 T-connection piece, 1 box of glass wool, enough grass to fill plastic bags, 1 plasterboard, and 1 thick plastic foil. You build a structure first, and he's drilling pilot holes to beat the nails with these. I'll prevent the wood from splitting or the nails from going in the wrong direction. Then he lays down the 4 battens. Then when the floor is done, he's going to insulate that with expanded polystyrene. This will keep the temperature high during the winter as well. The bacteria, which is digesting the compost, reproduces at warm temperatures. The side walls and top should also be insulated. Now, then he puts the vertical wood pieces in, and for each vertical piece, he'll be adding a horizontal piece to place the plastic bags, which will be used as digesters. He says he will then add 2 horizontal wood pieces, one at about 1 foot and the second one at 2 feet, making sure you refer to the PDF file that I'm reading here for exact dimensions. Again, you don't need to build this to scale or save. You can even try without the wood frame, but with a couple of recipients, see how it's working it for you, but that should give good results during summer, but in winter you need an enclosed and insulated space for getting good results out of the system. Then he's making the bedding for the mattress, which will be used for gas storage. And then he's welding and mounting the PVC pipes using short PVC pipes, which are easy to weld with a hot welding tool. It's actually easy to make an airtight connection by heating both pieces and inserting the pipe inside the junction. The T connection is slightly larger than the pipe, so the PVC will fit inside nicely, and because both parts are preheated, they will be welded instantly. This array can be configured in any shape you want. You just need to make sure it's free of bleed. Make sure you won't touch the hot surface of the welding tool when getting the PVC pipes out of the hot junction. You have connection tubes ready for the first set of digesting recipients. And then he uses the same welded pod process on the second string, and then mounts them in place using some steel ribbons. Then you gather raw material and fill in the bags, add water, and connect the bags to the PVC system. Fill the bags with grass or leaves to show you the whole process. He's using 2 plastic bags to make sure I won't have any leaks in the system. When the water is added to the grass level, seal the bag with a clamp. The advantage of a Liberty Generator 2.0 is that you can easily load and unload the content, preserving the smell. You just tie the bags before releasing the clamp, and they're ready to be transported or sold as manure. The bags are reusable, so it adds no cost for your refilling. You'll do the same with the rest of the bags until the system's complete. You may consider each bag as a battery. If you add more of them, you'll be generating more gas to run your stove or generator. Now, he continues on with 3 strings of pipes and their digesters. After the pipes are in place, he'll begin working on the filters, which will filter the biogas and also act as a flame arrestor. First filter is made out of cotton, second one out of coal. The cotton filter will absorb any water, and the coal filter will block the flames from entering the system. And he mounts the filters into place. And this, what you get is the whole PDF, so you got illustrations here. Then on this connection piece, he attaches the gas hose. A tap will be used to open or close the gas flow. Then you're placing, mounting, and connecting the mattress to the system. He's using a piece of plasterboard to apply some pressure over the mattress, which will be filled with biogas. Uses a T-joint to connect the mattress to the filters, and the third hose will go to my gas generator. I begin by insulating the side walls with the same material. Use some steel ribbons to secure the polystyrene in place. After finish mounting the polystyrene, I will cover everything with a thick plastic foil to keep the water out and the heat in. Secure the plastic foil to the corners, make sure to make it withstand weather conditions. Now, he begins working on the cover for the generator. This will keep out the moisture. At the same time, it'll insulate us from the noise. Many of you might live in a populated area, so you don't want to annoy the neighbors with your new energy source. You can use any materials you have lying around: plywood, thick cardboard boxes, some plaster, boards covered with plastic, or a steel. To insulate the sound, I'll use some glass wool on the walls. We'll do a sound test before wrapping up the project to show you the huge difference this box is doing. Other things I am considering to even lower even more noise from the generator is to attach a car exhaust system, but we got to do tests first, see if it's not lowering the horsepower of the generator, but that'll be an update later. Go for cheap hinges from a leather piece I had laying around. Found this knob to have something to grab when opening the lid of this box. Now you can see the generator inside. The last thing we got to do is place some glass wool on the back of the lid and go with this first spin. And if you want, you can make a locking system to keep the lid closed. But in my case, I will leave it like that for the moment. Now, to make my gas generator work on propane and biogas, I'll install this kit I told you about. This is the safest way of converting a generator to run on propane. It has a safety valve which will close the gas flow if the generator stops running. Given the way I set up the generator, put it inside the box, this is highly recommended to make sure you don't have any gas leaks. I also mounted a steel hose on the exhausting system of the generator to get the exhaust gases out of the box. If the generator won't run properly because of the lack of air inside the box, you can add a hose for air intake or make some vent holes in the box. I'm then starting it on gasoline and close the gas flow and let it run only on the biogas. To mount the conversion kit, you should follow the manual that's provided with the piece you purchased. Closing the lid covers most of the sound. I think it would be a good idea to add a lock on the lid to keep it closed, but I'll let you guys deal with this. Sometimes it's a good thing to add some improvements on your own. I've showed you the basic idea for the system. You're free to improve on it and make it better, easier to build. Now, how do you store the electricity? Here's a wiring diagram that you can also store electricity using your batteries during regular operation of the generator. The generator I'm using has two plugs with exit of 220 volts, depending on the type of generator. You might be using a 110 volt generator instead. The wires coming from the regular plug can be used to power any appliance you want. They use the same voltage as your generator, and in my case I am powering a 220 volt light. The same generator has a 12 volt plug. I've plugged wires from the 12 volt system to a charge controller to charge the batteries. So you can store the electricity at the same time you run your generator for other appliances. You can then use the inverter to transform the 12 volt to 110 or 220 volt. Okay. Pretty interesting here. Pretty interesting here. Alright, what do we got? We got 15 minutes left here. What are we doing in the chat room? Alright, we got any questions up here?
No questions.
Okay.
A lot of discussion going on, but no questions.
Alright. Yeah, well, you know, I don't know what to tell you folks about your property. You don't pay your taxes, you will get evicted. And,
Title that you have that shows you truly own that property is a clear title. Otherwise, the state still owns that property. They don't want you to sell it because you're a tenant and resident. People can't grasp that. Like, well, I own this car. No, you don't. The state does. Read your goddamn title.
tell us a story, huh, Pappy? Alright. I might be able to do that. Matter of fact, I've got a link up here that I kind of wanted to bring up. I'm not sure if this is a video or a link here, but how about Jesse Ventura? We could do Jesse Ventura. I've got to call in to his publicity agent to get him on my show. He did a Howard Stern show. He's got a new book out called the JFK Murder Book, but you probably don't need to do that because I've already covered all of that. LBJ did it, and there is a Houston anthropologist. This is relevant, folks, because I actually wrote about this 45 years ago. A Houston anthropologist reveals irrefutable proof that recorded history is wrong. Evidence found across the globe of highly evolved human species before the Ice Age demand recognition of our past that depicts societies of advanced technology and culture. Houston anthropologist Dr. Simmer Osmanagic, founder of the Bosnian Archaeological Park, the most active archaeology site in the world, declares that irrefutable scientific evidence exists of ancient civilizations with advanced technology that leaves us no choice but to change our recorded history. An examination of the age of structures across the earth reveals conclusively they were built by advanced civilizations over 29,000 years ago. That's pretty incredible. Acknowledging that we are witness to fundamental proof of advanced civilization dating back 29,000 years, and an examination of their societal structure forces the world to reconsider its understanding of the development of civilization and history. Dr. Simmer says, conclusive data at the Bosnian Pyramid site, all revealed in 2008 and confirmed this year by several independent labs who conducted radiocarbon testing, dates the site at 29,400 plus or minus 400 years minimum. The carbon dating was done by a radiocarbon lab from Kyiv, Ukraine, on organic material found at the Bosnian Pyramid site. The date of 29,000 years was obtained from a piece of organic material retrieved from a clay layer inside the outer casing of the pyramid. It follows a sample date retrieving this structure has a construction profile stretching back almost 30,000 years. The ancient people who built these pyramids knew the secrets of frequency and energy. They used these natural resources to develop technologies and undertake construction on scales we have never witnessed on Earth. Evidence showed that the pyramids were built as ancient energy machines aligned with Earth's energy grid, providing energy for healing as well as power. Anytime you get back to it, this whole show is about energy and energy power. There are magnetic generators, there are biogas generators, there are solar generators, and there's a lot more. There's the magnetic systems and what these pyramids do. We can't build these things today. How can these so-called scientists try to convince you that, oh, the ancient Egyptians built those pyramids with slave labor? Oh yeah, they were carrying these stones. They were carrying these stones, these big that were carved out of solid rock, and way more than anything we could possibly pick up with anything that we've got today. The ancient historians in the U.S. have news just as astonishing as anything found in the far corners of the globe. For instance, the rock wall discovery outside of Dallas, Texas, is only one example of how we are now re-examining ancient mysteries to reveal more about our past right in the United States. The History Channel series Unearthing Ancient America recently filmed an episode about the rock wall that will air later this year. The Texas site is a complex and massive wall 10 miles in diameter, built over 20,000 years ago and covered by soil 7 stories below the ground. The question is, by whom was the structure built and for what purpose, and most importantly, how can knowledge left by these past civilizations shape our future? Newly rediscovered traces of ancient civilizations have ignited an innate curiosity about human origins, as reflected by recent coverage in mainstream media. November 2013 issue of Natural Geographic has 100 Greatest Mysteries Revealed, Ancient Civilizations Unearthed, and it says, sometimes cultures leave behind mysteries that baffle those who come after them, from standing stones to coded manuscripts, indication that ancient people indeed had a profound purpose. Forward-thinking scientists continue to pursue knowledge from our past that is useful to determine a better future. Author Michael Cremo, in his book Forbidden Archaeology, theorizes that the knowledge of advanced Homo sapiens has been suppressed or ignored by scientific establishment because it contradicts the current views on human origins that don't agree with the dominant paradigm. Cremo's work has been described as a useful teaching resource, raising a wide range of issues covering aspects of knowledge transfer, sure to be provocative in the classroom. It's been reviewed with widespread appraisal by hundreds of academic journals. Now, in eastern Turkey, there's the Göbekli Tepe. Results indicate that similar advanced civilizations of human were present all across the globe at that time in history. Global Göbekli Tepe is located in eastern Turkey. It's a vast complex of enormous megalithic stone circles with a radius of between 10 and 20 meters, much larger than the well-known Stonehenge in Great Britain. Excavations at Göbekli Tepe began in 1995, revealed carbon dating at least 11,600 years. And German archaeologist Dr. Klaus Schmidt from the German Archaeological Institute in Berlin, Germany, with the support of Archinova Institute from Heidelberg, Germany, led the excavation of these recently discovered prehistoric megalithic circles at Turkey. It's one of the most fascinating Neolithic locations in the world, Schmidt claims. But as he explains in a recent report, to understand the new finds, archaeologists need to work closely with specialists in comparative religion, archaeology and art theory, cognitive evolutionary psychology. Sociologists use the social network theory and others, and the complex story of the earliest large settled community, their extensive networking and their communal understanding of their world, perhaps even the first organized religions and their symbolic representation of the cosmos. In addition to the megalithic structures, figures and carvings have been discovered depicting animals of prehistoric nature such as dinosaurs and other wildlife. Since excavation started in 1995, 4 of these circles have been partially cleared, but it's thought there's a total of 50 circles hidden underground. These vast monoliths, soaring several meters in height and 25 tons in mass, at Göbekli Tepe, are situated right in the heart of what we perceive as the origin of civilization. The Bosnian pyramids, now in its 8th year, is proof of advanced civilization from over 30,000 years ago. The 8th year of excavation spans 6 square kilometers in the Visoko River Basin, 40 miles north of Sarajevo, comprised of 4 ancient pyramids almost 3 times the size of Giza, with an extensive subterranean pyramid tunnel complex. New discoveries each year continue to reveal proof of a much different history of mankind on Earth. The central pyramid of the sun rises a colossal 420 meters in the air. It has a mass of millions of tons. By comparison, the Great Pyramid of Cheops on the Giza Plateau is 146 meters high, making the Bosnian pyramids the largest and oldest known pyramids on the planet. Since the research on the Bosnian site began. It has amazed the scientific and archaeological community by gathering a team of interdisciplinary engineers, physicists, and researchers from around the world to conduct open and transparent investigation of the site to try and discover the true nature and purpose of the pyramidal complex. I believe that all of these pyramid sites all across the world, from Peru to Turkey to Bosnia, they were all linked by UFOs. All linked by flying ships. Because all of the designs and they're carved into the rock, similar to the designs that were just found up there in Washington or Utah, someplace like that. They're only visible from the air. If all they had was horses or walking 20,000 years ago, they couldn't have made these things, they couldn't have identified them. And today we can't move one of the stones of one of these pyramids. I believe they did it through levitation. I believe they had a better understanding of energy and magnetism that we know of today. We've got a few examples of modern people discovering that, like the Coral Castle in Miami. Again, with huge stones built by one man. How did he lift them? How did he move them? We don't know. But if you go to my website and you read the Lucifer series, it's a fictionalized account of what I believe really happened thousands of years ago. We've been around for a long time, and we've had the ability for space flight for easily 30,000 years, in my opinion. Alright, Wolf Skirt. And I mean, it's really, folks, it's really only common sense. It's common sense. Now, my December 15th issue of the Free America is coming out. I suggest that you go to shop.freeamerican.com. Pick up all of the issues. People are doing that. Pick up all of the issues. December 15th will be out shortly. What I used to take me a month to do, it took me a month to get it to you, and now I'm doing it in a week, so the stories are current. The magazine online is better than it was when I was doing it before. Thank you, Pappy. I appreciate that. And it's we've hit. This is a little energy generator that I've just purchased to figure out how to build it. Simple. It's simple work, and think about $3 a gallon. All right, we're out of time. God bless you all. See ya.